Roger Federer versus Hubert Hurkacz, Wimbledon quarterfinal 2021 review. If you have not watched the match and don't want the results spoiled for you, click away in 3, 2, 1. Roger Federer, by winning his match against Lorenzo Sonego 2 days ago, became the oldest quarterfinalist in open era Wimbledon history. That is where his Wimbledon journey ends this year because he lost to Hubert Hurkacz in 3 sets. 6-4, 7-6, 6-love. The statistics are as follows. Roger Federer, aces, 5, 3 double faults, 65% first serve, win percentage first serve 67, win percentage second serve 33, net points 170%, 30 out of 43, break points 1 out of 4. Receiving points won 31%, 34 winners, 31 unforced errors, total points won 78. As for Hurkacz, aces 10, double faults 3, first serve in 59%, winning percentage on the first serve 79%, big statistic there. Win percentage on the second serve 56%, net points won 65%, break points won 5 out of 15. 1 out of 3 as an average. Receiving points won 45%, 36 winners, 12 unforced errors, total points won 103. Now, I will first talk about just the match, and then I'll touch upon the achievement of Hurkacz and possibly what this loss could mean for Roger Federer. The match itself, set by set, the first set was never really in doubt after Hurkacz broke at 2-3, and then he went up 4-2, after which he was in cruise control. He simply served his way to win the first set. Roger Federer was not able to play any of the first strike tennis that he displayed in the latter stages of his Sonego match, and he was deflated by the end of the first set. However, the match was not lost yet because it was only 1 set lost. Going into the second set, it was clear that Roger Federer had to establish himself because even I got the feeling that he was not coming back from 2 sets-to-love down. Not today, especially given the fact that he has not been tested from an endurance point of view as much. So the second set started well. Federer got the break, but he could not keep the break because he was broken back. It was 4-4, and then Federer and Hurkacz went into the tiebreak. The biggest observation that I can tell you as a trend in this match was that Federer was constantly up 30-love or love 30 on Hurkacz's serve, and he never took that advantage forward. He was never in a position to really capitalize, and whenever there was a challenge, he broke down. And the little tendencies that we saw of this, the indications that we saw of this in the previous matches got pronounced, and they were very, very much present. Federer was not able to make the most of any opportunity that he had, and whenever he had the chance to pull the trigger, his only semi-reliable friend was his forehand, but even that was not able to withstand Hurkacz's onslaught, because Hurkacz played a great match. As evident by the statistics, he was playing very cleanly. He had 39 winners, and his serve was giving Roger a lot of trouble, especially in the first and definitely in the last set. Federer went into the tiebreak 6-6, and he had the chance to really get a foothold in that tiebreak. He double faulted as well. At some point, there was an easy volley that was a very easy put away volley, and he was not able to because he slipped. His serve was not firing. He gave away the tiebreak, but to Hurkacz's credit, he played really well. He was really solid, and he was always there. He was always in the right position. One of the characteristic features of this match from the Polish first-time Grand Slam semifinalist's perspective was that he was always in the right position. His court positioning was fantastic, and he was moving really well. His ground strokes were cleaner, and they were directed toward Federer's forehand, directed toward Federer's backhand. And in the end, he was able to break that side down too. There was no flair from Federer. There were no long rallies much to speak of. Federer was getting gassed out in some instances, but then it was not an indication of total burnout because he was there with his serve during the next games. But there was no killer instinct. He was very passive, and after he lost the second set, that was it. There was no coming back. I knew by looking at him and his demeanor. There was no 3 straight sets in him to win the match. And to no one's surprise, he lost his serve very early in the third set. Hurkacz was playing very, very smart with his service games, and he was making deep returns to Federer's forehand and backhand. Federer was trying to slice, but that was not working either. His approaches to the net were being countered with rather penetrating passing shots, something that I was not really expecting from Hurkacz, but very pleasantly surprising there. And in the end, Federer just looked defeated, deflated, and already accepting of the fact that this was it. This was his this was his this was the end of his current Wimbledon dream. There is no repeat of Djokovic Federer from 2019, at least not this year, and who knows what's going to happen next. But first, most importantly, big congratulations to Hubert Hurkacz, who proves that his 6-match losing streak going into Wimbledon was not a sign of things to come. He justifies and reinforces the image that he had built on the back of his victory at Miami, which was stained by not a lot of by most top players not showing up in Miami. But it doesn't matter. He won another title after that, and now he is in the semifinal of Wimbledon. That is a massive achievement. And given the way he's playing, he could easily go into the final where he will meet Novak Djokovic. Well, the match is yet to be played, but in my Djokovic video, I will show enough reasons for my confidence in Djokovic making it to the final. Unless Shapovalov has a massive surprise for me in terms of his amazing serve and not disappearing mentally for long periods of time. But that thing will have its own video later on. As for Roger Federer, this channel is in its infancy, and we have not really been on a very roller coaster ride yet. But one thing that will define this channel is that we don't insult anybody. We don't kick anyone when they're down. Plus, tennis is essentially a gentleman's game. It used to be cricket, but that has been watered down. But tennis, especially at Wimbledon, well, I will have that intention throughout my coverage of any match that I do, no matter what I do. Whether it's just Grand Slams, whether it's just Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, doesn't matter. But Roger Federer was just done in this match, and there was no signs of life in the third set. There was no real drive. The belief is gone, at least in this match. And Federer was a little gassed by the end. If you just look at that as a microcosm, then you will have a lot of articles and a lot of surprised people writing these articles saying, "Oh my God, it is the end of Roger Federer. The career is over. There's nothing to be done. He should just accept and move on." And that is a very clickbaity and very reflexive, very reactionary way to put these things. So we'll try to look at all the factors in time. However, this is right after the match, so I have to be careful not to be too impulsive in my projections. Roger Federer is not retiring yet. He has committed to play Halle next year. And as far as I'm concerned, and this is just me, I am just happy with how he played the first 4 matches of this tournament, of his favorite tournament, of his main tournament. We did not expect anything given his performance at Halle, and before that his performance at the French Open, which was the most promising. But given his dismal showings at Doha and Geneva, there were no real expectations from Federer, and he defied those, getting better and better throughout each match that he played at Wimbledon. And that was never more true than his match against Sonego, where we saw him in full flow in the third set. He was Roger Federer. He was back at his level of play. But this is something that happens with age, that you cannot be sure about your consistency level, and the likelihood of you having an off day is increased. I would be sure to say this as well. I'm very confident that if Federer has his best day, he still has the game to beat anybody in the world today. But the likelihood of that best game appearing is shrinking with every injury, with every year that's passing, because he is, come to think of it, he is more than a decade removed from his prime years, and he's still playing because of the love of the game and maybe some achievements that he wishes to accomplish those accolades that he might think he wants to go for, or he just loves to play, which is very true. He really loves the game. So there will be a lot of people in the comments who will return with their antagonistic themes, and they will say, Roger Federer should retire. It's getting embarrassing. No, it's not embarrassing. You try being 39 years old, being an 8-time Wimbledon champion, not playing for 14 months, coming back and winning against players virtually half your age at center court, entertaining everybody, and receiving the basking in the glory of the crowd, and then believing in yourself enough to make it to the quarterfinals, and then just not playing a good match. You try doing half of those things, and then speak for him. We cannot speak ill about him, because to judge somebody, you have to walk a mile in their shoes. And as far as I'm concerned, this tournament has been a big success for Roger Federer. He came, he conquered 4 matches, and then he lost. He had an off day. And it was not a surprise to the people who remembered all the things that went into this comeback. This is still a work in progress as far as his return is concerned, unless he, by surprise, by some miracle, retires in the post-match press conference. But he is going to play Halle next year, as far as I know. He has made some commitments, so he'll aim for Wimbledon. The one thing that may be deterred is his belief in himself, but a little bit. However, if you focus on the positives, there are a lot of positives to take away from this. As for what happens in the tournaments to come, I believe he'll play the Olympics. Best of 3 tennis, you never know what might happen. There are a lot of lessons to be learned from this match itself as to what happened to him, where he went mentally, and also in the latter stages of the third set, he looked sluggish physically. His movement was compromised. His shots did not have any penetration to them, no depth, and his movement, as I already mentioned, the movement, his serve was slower, a bit slower. And you can imagine it's also demoralization. If you're in his position in the third set, you know you're going to lose the match, and he got bageled. So it's to be expected. I hope that his health is up there so he can make the schedule work for him the best he wants. All respect to the champion, and big, massive congratulations to Hubert Hurkacz, who will move on to face either Matteo Berrettini or Felix Auger-Aliassime. They are 1 set all at the moment, and I will preview that semifinal if I have the time. I'll see you for the next video, which will be about Novak Djokovic's absolute... I won't spoil it. Until the next video, this is Duncan Lievi. Cheers.